Welcome to your Monday. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, aka your Mr. Monday, and this quick bit of motivation and inspiration was originally published on January the 3rd, 2022. The original message goes as follows. Becoming a millionaire is never easy to do. Still, it's a lot easier if you happen to inherit millions of dollars from a family member who has already earned the cash for you. So, going deeper into this message, Happy New Year and happy, just weirdly timed continuation on the talk on privilege. We wrapped up the year talking about privilege being opportunities to skip out on opportunities because you know another one will come around. This one is a bit of an extension on that one and the opportunity to do great things, if you will. And we use becoming a millionaire as the sort of the metaphorical standard that we're talking about. So, being successful, taking that opportunity and running to the top of the mountain, if you will, is not easy to do. If it was easy, more people would do it. Not so necessarily could do it, but would do it. It would happen. Some people just can't find a way to do it. Some people just find a way to sabotage themselves. Some people really have other people out to get them, to knock them down. But if it were a simple thing to do, being millionaires would be something that would be easy, simple, and more people would do it. Although in this day and age, it's easier to get it done. It's just the discipline to actually think about it at the starting point where it actually works out. And that's where the issue is. If I were to convince my 9-year-old that she needs to put away all of her birthday money for the rest of her teenage years so she goes off to college and then use that to invest into something that will grow into something larger, that might be a great idea going forward. In fact, I'm doing that by investing little bits right now to give her a big wad of cash, essentially, when she turns 18 to go do something with it. Hopefully, great things in the world. However, if she doesn't do that and she lives off whatever she does completely until she's 35 and then decides she needs a big nest egg for whatever, it's a lot harder to get started and get that going at that point in time. Unless, I happen to have earned $1 million and I write her a check at 35 for $1 million. Then she's a millionaire. She inherited $1 million. I gave her $1 million. She gets a head start from somebody else having done the hard work ahead of time to give them that big check to go forward. And we're using money as the easy way to picture it, but it's also privilege. It's also opportunities. It's things like that. This actually did not come from a thought process of money per se, but it comes from a conversation that keeps popping up and down. And I keep talking about in various writings about legacies. And oddly enough, because I'm working in broadcasting and trying to make that legacy there, maybe my daughter wants to follow me along in that legacy. We'll see as she gets older if it's something she wants to do. But the big issue comes from people of privilege, and we'll say it right here because I'm African American. It's said a lot that a lot of people who are Caucasian and they have families of privilege in different areas. Broadcasting, for example, can come in as under tutelage of a famous person and also become world-class Hall of Fame broadcasters. That happens a lot of cases for father-sons and now father-daughters for people who happen to be Caucasian. In African-American standards, if you want to be a sports person and follow your dad into sports, then sure, they'll look on you that way. But in most cases, if you want to be a broadcaster, you don't get a pass for being a big broadcaster because it just isn't there. The infrastructure's not there for someone to bring up their kid in that manner. It's not so much the family business. It's really the outpouring of going into something that's a larger opportunity. So if I own a salon and my daughter wants to be a hairstylist, that's perfect. She comes to the salon and works going forward. But if I want to be a stockbroker and be $1 million work on that end and she wants to come on that end, first I have to make my money as $1 million stockbroker. That is hard for me to do. It'll be hard for her to do. The legacy issue on this is where it gets complicated, where it really means something. So if you want to be something big, bad, and bold, it is really, really hard to do. It is hard to run for a government office. It is hard to be a long-standing pillar in the community. It's hard to just stand up for yourselves and ground a bunch of bullies. But it's not as hard if you already have someone who's done that before you. It is not as hard if you have family members or your own family, like your parents, if you will, who have manipulated the world of politics and can bring you in to learn it under their tutelage. It is not as hard to be a pillar of the community if you already have parents who have been volunteering and doing what they can around the community, around the world to do greater things. And standing up to a bully works out a whole lot better if your big brother is around to stick around behind you and kind of nod as the bully sees what he has to deal with if he puts a hand on you. So you can think about that from a money sense, think of that from a legacy sense, but think about what it is you're trying to become. Doing great things is not going to be an easy thing. It's going to be a challenge. But if you have some help, some people who have been there before or made a couple attempts and got close to it and know a few people, it will be much better. Do not be afraid to lean on a family member or a friend who has tried that journey before you, whether they were successful and now you have some resentment for it, or they were not successful and they themselves are a little bit bitter because they didn't make it. They want to see you happy. They want to see their legacy go on. And even if they didn't quite do it, they like a shot to make sure other people can do better. They may not see it outwardly. May not see that outwardly. Like I said, they may be a little upset and bitter about it from the get-go. But convince them that you're going to do this great thing and you're going to make sure they get all the accolades that they deserve. And you'll find that they'll be more happy to give their help than they originally thought they were going to be. Becoming a millionaire is never easy to do. Still, it is a lot easier if you happen to inherit millions of dollars from a family member who already has earned the cash. This original message was published on January 3rd, 2022 from Welcome to Your Monday. For more messages like this one, plus books, merchandise, and other information related to this project, visit the website, welcometoyourmonday.com.